Among your colleagues, your seniors, your mentors, fellow students, you've been asked this question many times. Is the healthcare failing? So how do you respond? How are you responding? To answer your question, we are failing, okay? We are failing the healthcare system. The way I'm looking at it is that you guys are part of the solution in what's happening over the next 5 to 10 years. When you're finished and you're actually picking up your first real job, like, 2-3 years from now, and then another 3 or 4 year residency. We're talking about 6 years, 5-6 years for most of you. Things are going to evolve over time. And traditionally, what we have said 20 years ago, let's dial back 20 years, and you went to a small town and you wanted to find the best internist or best family practice doc. What was the gauge 30 years ago? What did your parents gauge the best family doc in town to be? The busiest doc, right? I mean, that was a gauge. If you were busy, I'll come to you, assuming you probably have better quality stuff. I mean, if you're going to go to a restaurant, you don't want to be the only one in the restaurant eating or ordering food. You want to go to a restaurant where there's 50 people there, so you know, man, this must be a good restaurant. That's the only judge or only metrics that we could do is volume 30 years ago. Then came quality. So now, are we able to measure quality of care delivered? The answer is yes, and it's going to get better. Right? I mean, 30 years ago, we couldn't figure out if one clinician did better quality metrics than the other clinician, but today we have some metrics in place that can actually, we can actually measure this to some degree, which is really good. And it's not the best yet. It eventually, over time, as the data gets more and more refined, the quality is going to be a number one predictor of where care is going to be delivered, or who's going to get the bulk of care. The other way of looking at this is, if I was you guys were a bunch of CFOs in the room, how do you measure value? How do you measure value? Forget the word docs. How do you measure value? It's quality over cost. So if I got this suit at TJ Maxx, $50, I'm going to come to you and say, man, phenomenal, it's good quality, feels good, it's $50, it's good value, right? Cost, quality over cost. If I got this at the mall and I pay $300 or $1,000, I'm going to say I didn't get the value. It feels great. I have the best quality, but I don't have the best value because you got to do the cost. And a lot of times, like I said, we forget the cost piece, especially in the day-to-day work that we do every day. Over time, though, in the recent years, what's the next big thing? Access to care. So let's say you are my family doc, and you're not available on a Sunday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to take care of me. I don't care if you're the best family doc in the state. Right now, you have zero value to me, right? I mean, if I cannot access you at odd hours, I have no value. So access has become a big triggering point to say, in order for us to look at value, you need to put access in there. And access could be remote, access can be various sort of communication, especially now with telemedicine and texting and whatnot. There's a lot of ways you can increase access. What you will see, though, 5 to 10 years from now, it's not there yet. People claim it's there, but it's not, is people will pay based on outcomes, meaning you're taking care of a patient with pneumonia. You will get compensated based on the results you produce for that patient, outcomes, not with the individual line items that you did on this patient, like you saw the patient 4 times at the hospital, you came at 2 o'clock in the morning in the ICU, intubated the patient. All of that won't count. It just matters, here's you have a patient, what's the outcome? Everything in between, we don't want to know. And when people get paid on outcomes and then they say, well, we want money back guarantee. Means if you take care of a patient with pneumonia, discharge him, then we want to know that the patient's not going to have another pneumonia for 6 months. And we'll give you X amount. So outcomes going to be a big factor down the road. People claim right now that we're paying on outcomes, but it truly they're going that route, but it's not there. It's just the metrics are not there, the numbers are not there. They're just not reliable information.